Can you just do me a favor when he speaks? Can you just listen if it's speaking passively? Is this speaking so soft? I don't know, but just in case. I don't want anything but the last.
No. It's just for. Okay. Ian, okay, Ian. In terms of the rule, state versus Rowan. In terms of state versus Rowan, the state cannot hide anything. If they have been informed of such anything, they are forced and duty bound to disclose. Right. And as such, the moment we found about it, the civil I have disclosed.
Ja, je garandeert hem.
Which one? Which one was it? It's a Rowan.
Als ik vast ben, dan help ik.
Okay. It's a
Ja. We must see the and wait for it 3 times.
I say give it 8 weeks because no, I think we'll finish before that. We'll finish well before that.
We prepare before, we're not like Mr. Baba of the state.
Don't worry. You'll eat the words.
I'll eat her words.
No, leave it. No.
I'll eat her words. I like her style.
I'm not willing to fight. I'm not willing to fight in the court.
We're looking June, July. See, you're distracted, so I can't be prepared.
You're not available.
Then you have to bring it before with the water.
June, July.
You're not driver in some situation.
I can't wait to have my day coffee. Sounds like someone in my bed.
I'm not sure that I'm not
All right. Reminder. All the cell phones must be on silent, and we must wear our mask properly. Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Malema, Mr. Ndlozi, may be seated. Are we on record?
Thank you, Worship. We are on record.
Thank you. It's case number 3/4067/2019. The appearances at the resumption is as before. Thank you, Mr. Baba. You may proceed.
Thank you, Worship. Before I just proceed, Your Worship, can the witnesses be seated?
Witness can be seated.
Thank you.
What is the name of your neck?
Before I proceed with the witness, Your Worship, during the lunch interval, I have approached Advocate Holders concerning the statements regarding this witness. This witness has made multiple statements. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 statements, Your Worship. By consent, Your Worship, we have no objection if it's handed in. If Advocate Holders can just confirm that, then I'd like to hand it to court, Your Worship.
Yes,
Advocate
I have
Holders?
5 statements, but they can be handed up. We want to try to speed things up like this.
Is it 5 or 4 statements now?
I can give him, I have A6, but that, okay, that's the album, sorry, so then therefore, I apologize.
4 statements. The sequence of the statements, it is in order as every
I
party.
have put it in order, Your Worship. The first one, just for Advocate Holders, is marked as A6, A31, A32, and A43.
Confirmed, Your Worship, yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
For ease of reference, Your Worship, the ones with the tags are the original. And the second set I've put on the bench, Your Worship, is the copies.
For record purpose then, the court have received the following statements. The court will rule and mark it as exhibits. Exhibit K1 is related to number A6. The second exhibit is K2, which is A31 as well. K3 is A32, and exhibit K4 is related to A43 in this regard. The court ruled that the said exhibits is admissible as evidence before the court, and the court have received it as evidence.
Thank you,
Mr. Baba.
Just before I proceed further with the witness, in terms of the interest of justice, in terms of State versus Rowan, during the lunch adjournment, it's come to light that there was a 5th statement that neither the state or the defense had. However, myself and the defense have come to an agreement, Your Worship, that it's not necessary to deal with that aspect. It was properly canvassed with all the other witnesses. I'd just like Advocate Holders to confirm same.
Advocate Holders.
Confirm it, Your Worship. My friend did approach me, showed me a new statement that neither of us had, and we're not going to take it any further, and I thank him for that, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Baba.
Thank you, Your Worship. Then with the permission of the court, I'd like to lead the next witness, Mr. Jacobus Nicholas Vosloo Smith. Just for record purposes, this witness will be testifying in English, Your Worship. Seeing that our interpreter is not from this court, Your Worship, may I request we release Mrs. Mayer, as she will not be required today, Your Worship.
Thank you. Ms. Mayer, then excuse, inspection.
I'm just going to wait for my colleague to here to transport me.
Okay.
You just want to sit here to let me know.
It is in order, Ms. Mayer, but you are excused. Nothing else to add, Mr. Baba?
Nothing else, Your
Thank
Worship?
you. Thank you, sir. Can you indicate to the court your full names and surname?
Your Worship, I'm Jacobus Nicholas Vosloo Smith. Your Worship.
Mr. Smith, do you have any objection taking the prescribed oath?
No, Your Worship.
Do you consider the prescribed oath to be binding on your conscience?
Yes, I do, Your Worship.
Raise right hand and repeat after me. You swear that the evidence that you are about to give will be the whole truth, nothing else except the truth, so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Mr. Baba, your witness.
Thank you, Your Worship. Sir, is it correct that you are employed in the South African Police Service?
That's correct, Your Worship.
Where are you stationed?
Worship, I'm stationed at the cybercrime and deep web investigation unit at Detective Services Head Office, Your Worship.
Can you please indicate to the court what your duties and functions are at this unit?
Your Worship, since 2007 and at this unit, I'm a digital forensic analyst, which basically deals with the analysis and imaging of video footage and CCTV footage, Your Worship.
Can you please indicate to the court what qualifications you had in respect of this field?
Your Worship, I did a course in a course called AMP5 in digital forensics.
Is there any other further training that you went through, sir, in respect of this field?
In respect of the specific CCTV skills, it was only except for the for all the years of experience. That's all. But that's the only course that I did.
Now, sir, there's evidence before this court that once the investigating of testified the previous witness, retired Colonel Sianeko, testified that he received certain video disc and video footage which he then forwarded to the Cyber Crime and Deep Web Investigations Unit. Before I ask you to comment on that, can you please indicate to the court when somebody brings in any exhibits at your unit, what is the processes that are followed by yourself?
Bishop, there's no processes followed by myself. What happened, the investigating officer will come to our offices, and at our admin office he will book in the exhibit and the request at administrative office.
Can you pause there for a second, sir? What document is normally used for them to book in this exhibit?
Your Worship, it's a form that we developed that on the form with these details, the case number, the court date, if applicable, as well as what specifics he wants, time, date, a certain requests that he wants is on that is available that he can fill on that form, which he then hand in at the office with the sealed with the exhibit, which is sealed then in the forensic bag.
Now, sir, can you tell the court when you receive these exhibits and it's booked out to you for analysis, what procedures do you normally follow?
So once the said inquiry is booked out to me by my commanding officer, I'll go and I'll open the forensic bag. I'll peruse whatever the request is. I'll open the forensic bag and peruse the data and see through the data, and then start with the analysis that was on the request, which are saved then on a hard disk that is at our office.
Now, today you are at court in respect of a specific case under Douglasdale case 380/04 of 2018.
That's correct.
Did you do the analysis on this particular exhibit handed to you?
Yes, sir, I did. Yes, Your Worship.
For record purposes, sir, can you recall what type of exhibits was forwarded to your office for analysis?
Your Worship, the first exhibit that I received on the 10th of May was a compact disc with video footage of CCTV camera of the incident.
This particular disc that you received, was it sealed or unsealed?
It was sealed, Your Worship, in a forensic bag.
Immediately, can you recall what was your request from the SAPS regarding this particular disc?
Your Worship, the request was that the charge was assault, and that I must image or compile a photo album of images of the assault that took place on this specific camera image.
Did you manage to compile a photo album?
Yes, Your Worship. I extracted 23 images and I compiled the album.
Now, after you compile the album, what happens, number one, to the exhibit, and number two, what happens to the album?
Your Worship, after the album is compiled and my statement is completed, the exhibit is resealed in a new forensic bag with the old forensic bag, and the exhibit in the new forensic bag, and resealed, and then it will be given back to the administrative office, which will then sign receipt for it, Your Worship.
Just for clarity purposes, sir, these exhibits that are handed into your unit, is that stored at your offices until the finalization of a matter, or is it returned back to the investigating officer?
Once it's finalized and it's back at the admin offices, it is stored at our offices till the investigating officer, which will come then and sign for it, then he will take it away. Between when I give it back to the admin office and I receiving it, it's stored in a storeroom by us.
Now, besides this disc that you have received, did you receive any other form of exhibit to analyze and download?
Yes, more or less a month later, Your Worship, the investigating officer booked in a data USB drive on exactly the same cache number, a different SAP 13 number though, and at our admin office, and it was booked out to me as well.
Did you analyze that particular exhibit?
Yes, Your Worship. In August, I analyzed that particular video data on the USB disk. I extracted 39 images and resealed the exhibit plus the old forensic bag in a new forensic bag and handed back to the administrative office.
Now, sir, at all material times, from the time the exhibit is handed to you and then returned back, do you keep any record of that particular exhibit at your office for purposes of testifying in court?
Yes, I do, Your Worship. All the analysis I do is the photos, and my statement is kept on a separate hard drive at our offices, although we don't keep copies of the video data, Your Worship.
Now, sir, Your Worship, with the legal of the court, if it's possible, can I please have the exhibit file for the photo album? I think it's exhibit 1, 2, 3, 4. Marked is JSO1 for your purposes, sir. Sir, can I just ask you if you have any statements in front of you? Mr. Smith, can you just leave the statements there for the timing, please? Yeah. I will get to the statements a little later. Thank you. Thank you.
You want me to give it to the witness?
The witness, Your Worship. Just to recap, sir, when you downloaded or analyzed the disk itself, can you just once again place on record how many images you managed to download for your album?
The compact disc, I imaged 23 images, Your Worship.
Now, in front of you is an album that was given to the court, to the defense, to the state. Can you please inform the court whether that is your complete album or not?
Just want to make sure. Your Worship, yes, only 13 images, but that is the first album I made of a, just want to make sure that is of the compact disc.
Was that after the analysis procedure? Who did you supply the entire report to, sir? Can you recall?
The photo.
Yes, the photo.
It goes back to the admin office. So well, what happens is the exhibit is sealed, plus the statement, plus the album goes into a A4 envelope, which goes back to the admin office.
Okay. Now, sir, you have made 4 statements that are commissioned. Is that correct? That we have before court currently. I would like you, in front of you, these exhibits, in front of you, there is a statement marked on top is A6 for records purposes. You will see what in A1.
Yeah, is correct.
That particular statement, is that a statement that you drafted yourself?
Yes, yes, Your Worship, I did.
Okay. Now, I want you to refer to paragraph 4. Paragraph 4 states the following. On the 10th of May 2018, I received footage booked in at CCI SAP 13/29/218 by Lieutenant Colonel C.M. Sianejo, Provincial Head Office, Detective Service, Gauteng, to assist with the analysis of CCTV footage data on Douglasdale case 380/04/2018.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Can you please inform this court what do you mean by the term CCI SAP 13/219/218?
Your Worship, as soon as an investigating officer arrives at the admin office, there is a record book we call the CCI SAP 13. And then that exhibit with his request will be booked in, and that is the reference number it will get for, and it becomes our inquiry number as well at the end of the day. So that is the record register we call CCI SAP 13, Your Worship.
Just for record purposes and clarity, sir, the document that you are talking about, does it look anything similar, or is it a normal official document the police would use marked as SAP 13?
The request document.
The document you said you normally fill in, the record.
Yeah, it's a normal form that we just developed for the IO to fill in. It's not an official document.
Now, sir, I just want to show you, I want to refer you to exhibit J5 and J6. You said that will be the SCP 13 document. Just for purpose of clarity, Your Worship, has Your Worship got a copy on the table?
Yes, I do.
The original, Your Worship?
The original is in front. Inspector, just bring the file so that Mr. Baba, do you have a stapler? Okay.
So I want you to look at the two documents in front of you, marked as exhibit J5 and J6 in this court. Does that document look anyway familiar to you?
Yes, Your Worship. That is photocopy of our register that we use, Your Worship.
I just want to get this clear again, sir. Is that the register that you use at your unit?
This is the CCI SAP 13 register.
Now, I just want you to look at the document is marked as J5 there. It's on the top, it looks like A38.
Yeah.
Do you have a look at it? Have you got it in front of you, sir?
Yes, Your Worship.
Okay. First I'm looking at J6. Just for that good purpose, the one that deals with the USB disk. Now, can you just explain to us quickly, on the very first column, there are two numbers there. It's marked as 261/219. If this register belongs to you for your officers, can you just give us an interpretation? What does that mean?
Correct, Your Worship. There was two exhibits booked in this specific matter, Douglas Dale 3804/2018. So 219 was this exhibit set on J5, and then 216 refers to the second exhibit that was booked in on a later stage, Your Worship.
Now, the information that's captured on this SAP, let's call it for practical purposes the SAP 13 book.
Yes.
Okay? The information in respect of point 2, point 3, point 4, who normally fills that in?
Your Worship, point 1, 2, 3 will be filled in by the person at your administration office.
Okay. Point number 5.
And
Can you inform this court who is the person who received this exhibit?
Which is point number 5. Once the exhibit is booked out to me, and I'll go fetch it at the admin office, then I will sign for it there. And once I take it back, I mean, the person at the admin office will receive it back. You see there's two signatures.
Now, sir, I just want to clarify again on point number 1. There's a date below your serial number 261/219.
That's correct, Your Worship.
If this document is from your office, would it indicate the date this exhibit came to your office? Would I be correct in inferring it?
That's correct, Your Worship. That's the date it was booked in by the investigating officer.
And Inspector of Perak, point number 6. Can you just explain to this court the manner of disposal?
Point number 6 is on the day when the investigating officer will receive this at our admin office. The moment he receives it, he will sign receipt of this with his date and signature, Your Worship.
So, if I understand you correctly, sir, your analysis was completed and this information was then returned back to the SAPS.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Now, in this particular entry we are looking at, can you just inform the court what exhibit was actually handed in?
According to this, 219, as my memory serves me right, was a compact disc, Your Worship.
Under point number 3 on this particular one.
Yeah,
You
it's
see
a
point
disc.
number 3? Can you
Says-
just read out for record what is the exhibit was handed in?
It was. It says the exhibit bag number, which is PAS 001735604 X1, CCTV footage, disc. Your
Okay.
Worship.
The next one, sir, the next SCP 13. What is the exhibit that was handed in?
According to the 3, and as my memory serves me right, it was one USB CCTV video footage, Your Worship.
Who is the person who received it to analyze it?
I was the person who received it on the 18th of June to analyze, to do the analysis.
And on point number 6, was this particular exhibit with your report returned back to the SAPS?
It was received by, it looks like on the 23rd of August by Mr. Gibson, Detective Constable Gibson.
Just for purposes of clarity, sir, I just want you to refer you to point number 1 again. At this particular junction, we have 2 exhibits that have been brought to the court's attention. One is a compact disc, and the other one is a USB.
That's correct, Your Honor.
In this particular entry dated the 10th of May 2018, is it correct that under point number 1, there's a reference /219/261?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And then later in that month, the second SAP 13 copy, it's also noted 261/219, thus referring to the 2, am I correct?
The previous one, that's correct.
Thank you. Now, sir, in this particular instance, you have deposed to 4 affidavits.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Can you please indicate to the court why was it necessary for you to depose to 4 affidavits in this matter?
Your Worship, in the course of the investigation, the IO came back to me in 3 or 4 times to say that I must add on to my statement. I must add on to my statement, in which I did, Your Worship.
And is that the result why you have 4 different statements?
That's correct, Your Worship.
Now, in respect, did you have an opportunity to look at your affidavits?
I did have the opportunity, Your Worship.
Can you just indicate to the court that in totality, what was the purpose and function of the investigating officer, what he requested to do in respect of the analytical approach, right? And in respect of what you did with the analysis of this video footage, right? What did you do as far as deposing to this affidavit? Why was it necessary to keep on adding on?
Worship, if my memory, and I go back to is the first, I just did what he requested and made images of the assault. The second one was that the second footage was booked in. I just had to mention it for him. The third one was that that I can't say that the video footage was the real footage because I didn't download it from the crime scene. And the fourth one, it just said that I didn't find that what I added on that there was any tampering or any data being removed from the video exhibits.
Now, sir, I'm interested in your last affidavit now that you talked about, where you talked about that you did not find any tampering. Were you specifically requested to look for that?
No. On the day he came to me to ask, the only reason, if I can remember right, Your Worship, is the fact that the CCTV footage or the video footage on the disk and the video footage on the USB disk was it on the same date and day and the same time period. That was actually, so there was nothing taken away there. It was all there, and it was not tampered with. It was exactly the same. It's just 2 different angles, cameras. If my memory serves me right.
Now, sir, there's one anomaly that I'd like you to just explain to this court. We have handed in all your statements as part of an exhibit to court. If you look at all 4 of your statements, can you just turn to the back of the statement, sir, where you have taken the oath and where it is dated? Do you note that on your affidavits, all 4 affidavits. The place, what is the place noted there, sir?
Pretoria, Your Worship.
What is the date mentioned there, sir?
10th of May 2018, Your Worship.
What is the time mentioned there, sir?
1455, Your Worship.
Okay. Now, I want you to just look at those pages. On the first affidavit, A6, can you tell the court who is the deponent there? Who is the deponent in that affidavit?
I can't hear it. It's just
On this affidavit, K1, which is marked A6,
yeah.
who is the deponent on this affidavit?
It's me, Your Worship.
Can you inform this court that looking at this document, who is the commissioner of oaths on this document?
It's Warrant Officer Tapper, Your Worship.
If you look at the second exhibit, sir, who is the deponent?
Me, myself, Your Worship.
Who is the commissioner of oaths?
Warrant Officer Tapper, Your Worship.
The third one, sir?
It's me, myself, is the opponent. Colonel Anton Grimbeek is the commissioner.
And then the fourth one, sir?
It's me, myself, is the opponent, and Colonel Anton Grimbeek is the opponent.
Now, can you indicate to this court, you have given 4 different statements. Can you give an explanation why the date and the time is the same, sir?
Your Worship, that's a human error and a typing fault. I really realized it only when I did see it now, that I've never changed the dates when I changed the statements as well, Your Worship.
So, can I get clarity, sir, when this investigator came to you? Were all these statements retyped? Or what is the process was followed every time he came to you to ask for certain clarity?
Like I said before, the statement was saved on the external hard disk at the office, and all I did, I just added the changes and printed it again. That's all I did. Except when the only changes I made on the last 2 was the person who did the commissioner of oaths.
Okay. Just one more aspect, sir. In respect of the USB, it was given for analysis. That exhibit was received. Was it sealed or was it unsealed?
Both. It was sealed, Your Worship.
And when you return the exhibit back to the investigating officer, what is the process?
Like I testified before, Your Worship, as soon as the analysis is done, I compile the photo album, my 213 statement, I reseal the exhibit with the old forensic bag in a new forensic bag.
Can I approach my colleague?
You may.
Thank you, no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Baba. Mr. Otis.
Thank you, Your Worship. Warrant Officer, would you agree with me that your unit will not accept anything at reception if it's not in a sealed forensic bag?
That's correct, Your Worship.
So in other words, every person that comes there that tries to book something in will be told that they have to have it in a sealed forensic bag or it's not accepted.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Which in turn could very well mean that it was sealed the day before or even that day, but there'll be no record of the history of that item prior to going into the bag. Do you agree?
That's correct, Your Worship.
So if, by way of example, and I'm just going to give you an example, it's hypothetical at this stage, the investigating officer arrived there on the 10th of May with a disc and said, I want to hand it in, he would be told, you have to put this in a forensic bag or we will not receive it. Do you agree with me?
That's correct.
Because your system at the Cyber Crimes Unit insists that it's a bag, so you've got a record of it from date of receipt until you return it.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Going one step further, in order to retain the chain of custody, once it's received in a sealed bag, that bag is open to conduct the analysis, because otherwise you can't do it. And the old bag is resealed into the new bag with the item. Do you agree with me?
That's correct, Your Worship.
Right. So you can be held accountable from time of receipt of the article in a sealed forensic bag until time of return when the item is in a sealed forensic bag with its previous forensic bag that it arrived with. Would you agree with me?
That's correct, Your Worship.
And but for that, you cannot get an item admitted at the cyber investigation unit. You agree?
Yeah, that's correct, Your Worship.
So it would seem now, and I say now because it's very apparent, that the extracts from the SAP 13 register are actually your unit's SAP 13 register and not the SAP 13 register held at Airedale.
That's our SAP 13 registered cybercrime investigations, Your Worship.
And it makes logical sense if you look at it now, because you will see that it doesn't only deal with Ayrton matters, it deals with matters from a variety of places. If we look at J5 first, the first entry is Douglasdale, the second is Morocco, the third is Hillbrow. You agree?
That's correct, Your Worship. We're working on a national basis.
Okay. And if you look at the second section, it's the type of items that you would receive.
That's correct.
So you have the CCTV footage, CCTV, or something about Samsung
Samsung phone.
phone, and CCTV video footage. Agreed.
That's correct.
So we only received this today. I placed it on record in court. But from what I understand now, this isn't from some lost Ayrton SAP 13 register. This is your cyber crimes unit SAP 13 register.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And that would explain your signature, because it's kept at your office. It doesn't drive around or get taken from unit to unit.
No, it's been kept at our office and it's our register, Your Worship.
So just for completion's sake, if we go to J6, that's the next extract, you'll see there, following the same vein, that there are a multiplicity of locations. So the first one's Douglasdale, the second one's Pretoria Central, the third is Camille Drift. Do you agree with me?
That's correct, Your Worship.
And once again, as you see, as we had in the previous case, the first item is a CCTV video footage, the one that we're dealing with here. The second is one CD CCTV video footage, and the third is a USB copy. I think it's photos or something, but it's a USB copy. Do you agree?
That's correct, Your Worship.
Right. So this would indicate, unlike we were told previously, that this is in fact your unit's SAP 13 register from your unit,
That's correct, Your Worship.
which is around. It hasn't disappeared. It's there. If we went there, we could
Still
find
there,
it.
Your Worship.
Right. Do you have any knowledge how this was made a true copy of the original on the 4th of December 2019 by somebody from Community Service Centre in Johannesburg Central?
Your Worship, I can't recall who made it, because I don't work in this office, so it could be the investigating officer, Your Worship.
No problem. Now, if we then accept, going back to the first one, J5, that as appears here, you received the first disc on the 10th of May 2018. It's a question of logic, Warrant Officer, that prior to 10 May 2018, you cannot account for where that disc came from. Do you agree with me?
I agree, Your Worship.
It would then appear that this item was received on the 10th of May 2018. It was given to you, or booked out to you on the 10th of May 2018, and received back, it might be, and I'm not certain, on the 10th of May 2018, by the inscription beneath your signature. Would that be correct?
That's correct, Your Worship.
So you did it on the very same day.
Very simple.
And if you look at the next column, that's column 6, it seems that it was, where they speak of disposal, it was removed on the 11th of May 2018 from your unit by Colonel Sianacho. He came then, he collected it the following day.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Right. And that's we can read from here. So you can account for the existence of that disc for the exactly one day, the 10th of May 2018. Other than that, you have no knowledge of it.
No knowledge of it, Your Worship.
If we apply the same reasoning to J6, it was received at your unit We've been told it's on the 4th of June 2018. I know the handwriting's difficult, but you can see from the page that it's apparent that that's the date.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Is that your signature then signing for it in column 5 on the 18th of June 2018?
That's correct, Your Worship.
And then there's somebody receiving it back. In other words, you had it out from the 18th of June 2018 in your custody until the 23rd of August 2018, it appears to be. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Worship.
Right. And then, using the same reasoning, on the 23rd of August 2018, the very same day, it was received by the person who took it back to Ayrton.
That's correct, Your Worship.
In other words, it would have been in your custody from 18th June 2018, I beg your pardon, until the day that they came to collect it. So they might even have arrived and said, we've come to collect this, and then you put it through the register to book it back to them.
No, it was in my custody from the 18th till the day that he, on the 23rd, that I took it back to the admin office. Your Worship.
And they could phone them to come collect it. Is another possibility.
The admin office will.
Right. So similarly, in relation to that, it's a USB. It's not a disk. In relation to that USB, you can only account for it for the time that it was in your custody, and that would be from the 18th of June to the 23rd of August. You agree there? And that's the purpose of this document.
That's correct.
Now, on the second item, and that's so we've got no confusion, the USB.
Yes, sir.
Did you reseal it with its old bag into a new bag?
I did, Your Worship.
And was that recorded?
It was recorded in my 213 statement.
And similarly, you recorded the other one in your 213 statement as well.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Now, when you testify and refer to the IO, who do you regard as the investigating officer in this matter?
Your Worship, initially it was Colonel Sonego, and then when Colonel Sonego went on pension, it was Constable, I don't know, the fellow or something like that.
And do you know when that was or not? When did the colonel go on pension and the
No, I've got no idea.
Fair enough. Now, you've explained to the court, because we had this strange feature of all your statements being on the same date, that's a case of stick and paste, would you agree?
Yeah, that's what it was. Your Worship.
It's an editing process. You utilized your original statement and just kept working on the same draft each time. There's no question about it. Do you agree?
Yes.
The difficulty we ever have is if you look at K1, your statement, you speak there, sir, of 23 images. You remember that?
Yes.
The album that we have doesn't have 23 images. So if we go through your album, you say here that you open the forensic bag in paragraph 5, you give a serial number, and analyze the data and extracted 23 images. In paragraph 6, you say, I compiled a photo album as per annexure JS01. I resealed the evidence in forensic bag with number, and they gave the new number of the new bag as marked JS02.
Yes,
but when we turn, as my learned friend has shown you, to Exhibit 4, in this honourable court, it's the photo album, you will see that it does not comprise of 23 images. Can you explain that?
I can't explain it, Your Worship. I don't know what.
You know, we've been told what a high-profile matter this is and how careful everybody was. But if you look at Exhibit 4, and the court is very detailed and in a very fair and objective manner marked each page. So I'm going to take you through the pages to show you what an anomaly this is. The cover, which has your initialing, JS01, is marked 4.1. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And you'll see it says there, forensic analysis, CCTV, cybercrime, and deep web investigations compiled by yourself with the Douglas-Dale reference, the CA's reference, and assault common being the offence. You confirm that?
I confirm, Your Worship.
You then turn to what we now call 4.2, and you will notice, sir, on the top right-hand corner of the first page, that's the 4.1, you'll see it's marked A7, and now we're looking at A7.3. So somebody's removed 2 pages. You can't jump from A7, as we have it here, to A7.3. Ordinarily, you'll agree with me, a docket's marked 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, all the way through. In other words, we've moved from the cover to page 3 of the exhibit. You agree with that?
It looks like it was, yes.
Right. Now, what would your first 2 pages be? Would they be images? Would they be some type of a key or plan?
Bishop, that will all be images.
So you didn't do a key or plan explaining what you see on each image?
No, I don't. I don't do a key or plan.
Now, when you received the disc, because I understand this was made from the disc, how many videos did it have on it?
Bishop, I can't really recall. On the disc, I'm sure it wasn't just the one, the camera towards where all the officers were standing in front of the building. That was that camera, Bishop. If
We've
I recall right.
identified, well, not we, it's been identified in this court as gate camera. I know it's not your terminology, it's not my terminology, that's Memorial Park's terminology. So what you're telling us, Warrant Officer, is that the first 2 pages, which would contain 4 images, if we look at the normal pages here, are missing. And there's no possible explanation for it.
It seems like that in the exhibit.
May the court just also, sorry for the interruption.
Not
The
at all.
photo album is not in front of the witness, so I think it is just fair that they have all the evidence to comment.
Thank you, sir.
Inspector?
Sorry? Oh, you don't have it. I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
Your Worship.
I
I
think
thought
it
you
is
had
difficult.
I apologize.
No.
Let me just give you a chance and let you take you through it. I apologize, sir. I thought you had it.
No,
The cover, you'll see, is as I explained to you. You confirm that?
yes, Your Worship.
And you'll see it's marked, and I wanted to show you that, sorry. On the right-hand top corner, above your JS01, it's marked A7 by what should have been the investigating officer. Do you agree with me?
I agree, Your Worship.
If you turn the page, you jump to A7/3. Do you agree?
That's correct, Your Worship.
From that, I infer, and I want you to comment, that somebody's removed 2 pages.
It seems like that, Your Worship.
There's no other possible explanation that I can think of. Can you think of another explanation?
No, Your Worship.
Right, pausing on A7/3, because I hadn't shown you this before and I apologize. You will see that the camera depicted there is gate camera in both photos. Do you agree with me?
I agree, Your Worship.
Right, the other point that I made, and I'm recapping now, is that if 2 pages are missing working on the premise that all of your pages appear in most instances to have 2 images, 4 images are missing, being pages 1 and page 2, because you didn't have a key or a plan.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Right. We turn the page, sir, to page A7/4, our 4.3 in this court. 2 images, both gate camera.
That's correct, Your Worship.
We turn to A7/5, our 4.4, 2 images, both gate camera.
That's correct, Your Worship.
We turn to A7/6, our 4.5, 2 images, both gate camera.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And you can do the exercise if you dispute it, Warrant Officer. You'll see that they work forward in the chronology as per the time. So looking at A7/6 where we are, it's 15:49:32, and beneath that is exactly 3 seconds later, 15:49:35, and you've kept them in the correct sequential order. Do you agree with me?
I agree, Your Worship.
Right. You then see another page is missing. Somebody seems to have removed another page because there's no A7/7. Do you agree with me?
I agree.
Right. We then go to A7/8. Once again, you'll see there in the top picture it says gate camera, but in the bottom picture it says Memorial Road. Now, did you get that from the same video footage?
Bishop, if I recall right, the Memorial Road footage was on the USB a data USB that was booked in June.
So you, as I understand your evidence now, and I'm emphasizing the word now, the first item that you received, the disk, had the footage of gate camera only. The second, the USB, had Memorial Road, or did it have both of them?
If my memory serves me right, that's what I recall.
No, I've given you two options, you need to choose one. The second item, the USB, did it have both gate camera and Memorial Road,
No.
or only Memorial Road?
Only Memorial Road, according to me.
That is the USB.
That the USB.
Thank you.
So put bluntly, and I need to emphasize this unfortunately, they were different. The first one had the footage of the gate camera, as I understand your evidence now. The second one had the footage from Memorial Road.
That's correct.
And you'll see, sir, because it becomes logical again, I'm going to show you that on A7/8, our 4.6, Your Worship, the time at the top has been flowing forward, and you're on 15:49, I think it's 48. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And if you look beneath that, you have 15:47.05, so it's moving backwards.
Yes.
In other words, you've taken a second source or second item and analyzed it, but it's not going forward in the same sequence. Do you agree with me?
I agree with you.
And you'll then see, if you turn from A7/8 to A7/9, that there's only one image there, and it's once again Memorial Road. And following your previous pattern, it's moved forward. It's gone from 15:47.05 to 15:49.55. Do you agree with me?
I agree with you.
So if we now count this, and I want to make doubly certain by doing it in front of you, we have 11 of your original 23 images. Do you agree?
Yes, Your Worship.
So even if we replace the 3 missing pages, will give us 6 more images, it still won't tie up. At most, we'll get to 17. Do you agree with me?
I agree with you.
Any possible explanation, Warrant Officer?
First of all, I can possible explain, and not explain, but I think what can happen is that I gave the two discs albums, and the IO must have mixed it up and came later and asked me to put the 2 images just with the album that he compiled. But the albums I compiled must have the 23 and 39. This must be a album that was mixed and matched.
You're gesticulating with your hands. Let me try to put it into words, and you can choose if you agree with me.
Yes, sir.
This was manipulated.
That's possible, Your Worship.
No, it was. You hand in 23. Some person somewhere removed certain pages, and we end up with 11.
That's
Agreed.
correct, Your Worship.
There's no, if I use the term, your album was manipulated, you can't dispute that. It's clear.
I can't dispute it, Your Worship.
There may be an innocent explanation. I'm unaware of it, and so are you.
That's
Let's be as
correct.
fair as we possibly can.
That's correct.
Your Worship, may I approach the accused, please?
You may do so.
Thank you, sir. My client asked me to put it to you. So what we have here, in actual fact, is not a true reflection of your album.
No, it's not, Your Worship.
And it becomes more complicated, sir, because if you go through your statements, at the end of the day, it would appear that you actually got to far more images. Do you agree with me? And I'm not taking issue with you. I'm making it very clear.
There was
To
far
me,
more images, Your Worship.
you've only been very reasonable. And in fact, on the, let me make sure of my facts before I say something incorrect. On the latest version that was shown to us today of your statement, there's a reference to 39 images. Do you agree with me?
That's correct.
That doesn't find its way into any album here.
That's correct.
Now, I'm building on logic, and if you want to dispute it, please be my guest. In order to reduce an album where everything's run so smoothly from your side, and I'm going to explain it. You're in your office, you're called, you're told there's a disk to be analyzed, you fetch the disk, you download it, you return it the same day or the very next day, and it's all signed for, and there's a perfect chain while it's in your custody. You agree with me?
I agree with you.
You then compile an album, you're then asked, as we've been told, and I'm not going to go through 3, 4, maybe even 5 times to add on and change your statement. That's why we've got the stick and paste. And you are also given another source of material, and you're asked, it's quite clear, to incorporate it in your album, the Memorial Lane footage, as I understand your testimony, that once you had been through all these processes and all these controls in your offices, where there's a register to book it in, a register to release it, a trace of it whilst it's in your control, put back into the bag, another bag, it all comes to nothing if somebody after that can take either your 23 or 37 images and reduce it to 11.
Your Worship, what happens in real life is that everything is sealed and went back. So I've got copies of the photo album and my statement, always on backup. What happens in most or in some cases, not most cases, some cases is that the prosecutor will ask the IO to do this and this and this and change the, add on to the statement, or change the sequence within the album, or put photo number 10 at photo number 1, or mark the photos. It all depends on the, after the analysis, the investigating officer is still going on with investigation, and the prosecutor will, in some cases, give him, say, listen, change this or add on this to the statement. And that's what happened in some of the instances. And then the IO will come back, not with the whole exhibit, nothing. Then I work on my backup and I do the request of the prosecutor or the IO.
I'm going to, if not disagree with you, then qualify that in 2 respects, if I may. Point 1, let me make it abundantly clear, okay? Since we received the docket, we know as a fact, and I can verify this, we have the exact same version as my 2 learned friends before the court. So one can't blame them, because I got it. I need to go 1 step further back. I apologize. We received the docket before these prosecutors were appointed, the copy of the docket, and this is how we received it, and it ties in with theirs. So we can exclude them from the equation. Do you agree with me?
I agree with you.
Right. I need to be fair on that, sorry. Because I don't want to create aspersions on people's character that are unjustified, because we're in an open court and it's wrong. So let me make it very, very clear.
I was just generalizing.
No, I share your view. I'm just qualifying it. I'm not differing with you.
Okay.
So we can say that manipulation or tampering, whatever term you want to use, must have logically taken place before they received the docket. That's all I'm saying as an officer of the court. What I also want to qualify in what you said is the following. It doesn't mean that I disagree with you. It's just you remember one of my first questions to you was, ordinarily there's somebody that comes out not from your unit, but a photographer or a drafter who does a plan or a scale and explains to you, or will come to you and identify the photos and say, this is, and I'm going to take it totally out of the realm of this case, this is the deceased's house, this is where the firearm was found, etc., and they then even can mark it on your equipment as where the cartridges are found, etc., and they can point it out, and they draw up a plan. That's what one normally finds here as well. And that's when they put the album together, in some cases. Do you agree with me?
I agree.
Right. But in this instance, and most significantly, you compiled an album in the first instance, I think in all instances, because I don't know of a second album, let me be very blunt, an album that contained 23 images, you stapled it together as would appear from this document, and you gave it to the investigating officer, Colonel Sianacho, when he collected no, it couldn't have been, when you collected possibly the second one back, whoever collected it, but then you had a sealed album that had been stapled and put together in a sealed envelope from your unit. Is that correct?
Correct.
And somebody somewhere seems to have decided that the court, my learned friends and the accused ought not to, or need not to, let's be as fair as possible, see those other photos.
I'm not an investigating officer, so I don't know what the reason there was, but I did what was requested from me, and it was given in at my admin office.
But it certainly wasn't this document that we have here. This is a breach version.
It's certainly not that.
You need to speak up, sorry.
No, it's certainly not that information.
Bishop, may I take an instruction?
You may do so.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you, Warrant Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Lava. For the
Thank you,
examination.
Worship. So I just want clarity on certain aspects. First of all, Your Worship, can the witnesses have his statement?
The
His
statement
witness
should be with the witness.
Okay.
He must just, Inspector just assist the witness of getting his statements.
Can
I
you-
believe the witness has put it there.
Thank you.
We'll
Worship.
leave it there.
Right.
It's fine.
Sir, if the court has asked you a question with regard to which, what do you say, disk or USB, the evidence was you downloaded the memorial photographs from a USB disk. You remember that was your testimony?
I imaged from the test.
Now, I say you also informed this court it's from memory. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Worship.
I just want to clear up something based on documentary evidence and not on memory stuff. Okay? Can you refer to A31, that's K2, your statement, sir? Okay? At paragraph 5, do you see that?
Yes, sir.
It states, I opened forensic bag with number PA 5001735604 and analyzed the data and extracted the 23 images.
Correct, Your Worship.
Right. I would like you to refer to the SCP-5 with that unique number. The SCP-30 copy. You have 2, that's J.5. There are 2 SCP-13 copy. Can you match that particular unique number to the item that you analyzed?
Yes, I do. Your Worship, the first footage I received on the 10th of May was the disc, and in the register it was 5001 735604.
So would I be correct in saying that the data you extracted and the photographs you handed into the album came out from a particular compact disc?
That's correct.
So this is not based on memory, am I right? The next one, sir. During cross-examination by Advocate Holder, you indicated that you store these particular copies on a server. Just for purposes of clarity, sir, at any stage, did any investigating officer ask you for another copy of this album?
Not that my memory serves me right. No other investigating officer asked me for a copy for this.
From the time the case was reported, since the time you downloaded it till now,
Yeah.
did anybody ask you to reprint your?
No, Your Worship.
Is just for the last question, you said you do save it. Is this full package of the photograph still available?
That's correct, Your Worship.
And if the court requests, or if the defense requests, or the state requests it, can be made available?
I can make it available, Your Worship.
Thank you, Your Worship. No further questions.
Thank you, sir. You're excused.
Thank you, Your Worship. At this particular juncture, Your Worship, this concludes the evidence I intend leaving. In respect to the further witnesses, it's Ms. Hart. Your Worship, I would like to yield for Ms. Hart to take over in respect of the other witness, so she can address you in respect of the position for way forward for tomorrow.
Okay, just one moment. I just want to do the file so that we do not mix the evidence up. Just one moment. Thank you, Ms. Hart.
Thank you, Your Worship. May I then be excused?
You are provisionally excused. Thank you, Ms. Hart.
Your Worship, our next witness will be General Zulu, Your Worship. However, she is sick. She informed me last week, Your Worship. I then asked her if it's possible for her to send me, either via WhatsApp or email, me her sick note, Your Worship, which she did. She is booked off, Your Worship, according to the sick note from the 8th of March 2021 to 11/3/2021, Your Worship. Before the sick note was handed in, Your Worship, she had symptoms of COVID, Your Worship, which the doctor has said that she must first undergo a test, Your Worship, which I have her test, Your Worship, as not her test, Your Worship, description that the doctor has written, Your Worship, for her to go for the test, Your Worship. So I am going to hand it to the court that General Zulu is not available, Your Worship. I have informed my learned colleague as well, Your Worship.
Thank
Your
you.
Worship, I confirm that we were told of the need to call General Zulu and of her medical condition. I understand she needs surgery, Your Worship. I don't think we don't even know any further details. And she had to have a COVID test in order to be admitted, which I understand is the problem at the moment. And that might have led to further complications, but I don't take issue with any of that, Your Worship. It was informed to me, and I have no reason to dispute anything that my benefit saying in that regard. I accept that, Your Worship.
The medical certificate is being received by court, and the court will mark it as Annexures 1 and Annexure 2. Thank you, State. You may proceed.
Please support, Your Worship, at this stage, Your Worship. We will then ask the postponement in the matter, Your Worship. Myself and my learned colleague, Your Worship, Mr. Barber, just have to secure a date.
So, can I just be addressed with regards to the date of tomorrow? So I believe the date of tomorrow, we will not proceed with this matter due to the absence.
No, Your Worship.
Then I
we-
also just get clarity from the State. Is this the last witness to be called, or is there any other witnesses that the State intended to call?
With regard to the chain, Your Worship, this is the last witness. Like I would have called General Zulu, Your Worship, and then we can proceed today and tomorrow, Your Worship. However, she's not available. So for today, Your Worship, this is the last witness, Your Worship.
Your Worship, I think my friends misunderstood, Your Worship. General Zulu is not the last witness. I understand that to be Your Worship's question.
There's still more witnesses, Your Worship.
From
We
the
still have-
state side?
From the state side, Your Worship. We still have more.
Is there any particular reason why any of the other witnesses could not be made available tomorrow? Or is the State then strongly believe that General Zulu is the next witness to be called in the line of chain?
Your Worship, when General Zulu informed me that she is sick and that she cannot come, that was last week, Your Worship. So there was not enough time to subpoena the other two witnesses, Your Worship, to come. And I know the one witness is recently a mother as well, so there was not enough time to subpoena and secure these witnesses, Your Worship.
How many witnesses is still to be called?
With General Zulu and the 2 constables, Your Worship, 3. We might add another one, 4th, Your
So
Worship.
potential 4 witnesses.
Please support.
Advocate, is there anything else you want to add?
No, Your Worship, that was explained to me. I just wanted clarification because I understood Your Worship's question as I think it was
Yes.
intended.
And I
Innocent
was also
misunderstanding.
placed
No
under
issues.
that impression that Zulu was last, but
No,
it's
that's what I
been
wanted to clarify.
clear
Your
up.
Worship. Fair enough.
Thank
No,
you.
no.
The court, is there anything else, Advocate?
No, Your Worship, this was explained to us in advance and we were forewarned. We weren't taken by surprise. My learned friends did tell us and we informed our clients that the state intended to call General Zulu next. But then it was too late by the time they established that she was not available. It's comparable, as I understand, to a medical, I won't say emergency, but a necessary procedure, and that they would then line their witnesses up, but they weren't able to do so in the limited time available once they were notified. They had been notified. What I would urge them is that on the next dates, if for any reason General Zulu is not available, to have the other witnesses lined up. I understand it wasn't anticipated in this period, Your Worship, and I take no offense on that.
I am in agreement with your advocate that we should use all available time to proceed to come to finality in this matter. However, as indicated by the state and as the defense have no objection with regards to the postponement, the court fully understands the reason behind the request for the postponement, and the court is going to allow the postponement as requested by the state. I believe, should I adjourn for a few minutes? I am also not in possession of the court diary, so I will request then, before we do resume, that the date just be confirmed with the magistrate for court 13 to arrange a date in her diary so that we do not clash with the magistrate for this court itself.
Bishop, may I propose that we come to Your Worship's chamber to arrange dates? It just seems unnecessary to do it here. Then we can arrange Your Worship's availability. We'll come together, so there's no issue. It's just tidier than doing it in the open court. And then we'll come back, obviously, Your Worship.
To postpone it in court. The court have no with such request. Right, yes. The copies will the state, I think I need to return the originals as well for the index to be updated by the state. So for record purpose, the court is handing over all records to the state in this regard for safekeeping. Court will have an adjournment, the date to be arranged in chambers. However, the court will announce the proceedings or the date in court itself. Mr. Malema and Mr. Ndlozi, Mr. Court will just adjourn for the arrangement of the date. So we will just have a short adjournment. Court adjourn.
Julie, can you cut me one? After the adjournment. Yes, please.
Except that no, the other two received, the other one has got the money. Since you're leaving your mother, they need an illness. That's Thursday and Friday. Can it be the week before? For you? Or the week after?
I do 30 June 1st and 2nd
Yes, I've asked him. And then, are you perfect. At the end of the month. Now we just get yeah, go with the owners in the watching brief.
Our clients were told in time. Our clients were told that they are not paying. Our dissatisfaction must be registered. Can't be told I cannot be told a stupid thing and then I accept. I don't accept such things.
Too late. But they intended not to.
No, you check I'm not just in that. So if the state says to them, come here, you never have a problem coming here. It's not just yeah. I need time to ask my boss for this.
Even the two officers, they are not on leave.
I asked Nama, Nama said, no, it's never called. And I think they don't call it.
The two officers are not on leave. That's what the test me. She's guessing. No, this one is, I know she has a child. But she's not saying she's on leave.
They don't have a struggle to explain to us because we are just recipients. We are not the recipient. They should have a I want to postpone this.
Yes, very good.
You know what I like about this file? No? No. I come again. But I don't get in. You know why? No? Look, we're looking at the 30th, first and second of first chapter. I was looking for that. But you understand, is it? Really?
Okay, do you hear it, Mama? Karena saya akan actually got friends from Greece. That's where I know it. Who said you didn't start?
Yes,
That's a discussion.
There's nothing to say which can help
They've indicated that if Zulu is not present, then the state should at least be ready with any of the other witnesses. The court is in agreement that the sequence of the witnesses is most probably important for a certain picture to be sketched to the court, but also with regards to bringing the matter to finality, the witnesses must be present at court. And if the witnesses are not before court, the court will also hold the state accountable for not having witnesses before the court. The arrangements and the lineup of the witness is solely in the discretion of the state. The court respects that the state is dominus litis in this regard, but then the state should also act in accordance with that status which has been given to them. Witnesses must be present, and although advocate have not given notice in terms of section 342A of Act 51 of 1977, but the state should keep a hint of the warning which has been issued in this regard.
As the court pleases, thank you.
I believe this. Is there anything else?
Not from us.
Nothing, Your Worship.
Thank you then. This case is now being postponed to the 1st of July 2021. The date for the 2nd of July 2021 is also been reserved by the court for the finality of this matter. Both accused, you on warning and want to appear at 8:30. If you fail to be at court or to remain in attendance until you are excused by the court, we'll leave the court to issue warrants for your arrest. You understand? You are then excused. Mr. Malema, Mr. Ndlozi, actually you can leave if you are, the court have excused you. The date is the 1st of July. Thank you, Mr. Malema. Thank you. Court adjourned.
Angelique, you'll email it to me next. The updated one. Let me just keep everything.
We're going to East London, end of the month.
Have you established any local languages? Oh, okay. No, I'm just concerned about Colonel Zulu. Yeah, just check her, because now she speaks Zulu perfectly and almost becomes an just a normal Zulu.
Lawrence, do you want me to take your call and update it?
Facing East London, end of the month. Just for trial. No, those dates, we're going to agree on the dates.
Gentlemen, can I just clarify something? What is
Lady,
the,
we have some.
and ladies, what is the remand date?
1 and 2 July. Who's asking?
Okay, then you are confused because it says Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, Thursday and Friday.
Then you need to check your eyes out because he's saying Sunday. Okay, now it's Thursday and Friday. Okay, I'll be in contact with you.
But we don't want to see you on Sunday.
No, I don't want to see you on the Sunday. It's my family time. Oh, thank you very much, everyone. See you in July. For this case, see you in July. Oh, wait. Hey, don't forget the cushions. Don't forget the cushions.
Okay, I will just yeah, but because the time
I'm glad to see you in this role.
not the direct one. So
It's weird to see you in this role, but I'm not.
Yes, it's now they are sorted now. But I'm fine, I'm not.